Well, hello, welcome once again to Pale Balloons and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. The Quiggs are a Scottish-Danish folk duo comprised of married couple Stephen Quigg, vocals, guitar, banjo, and bodhran, and Pernille Quigg, vocals and guitar. The duo have recorded 3 albums and tour regularly in the UK and Europe. Stephen has been playing music for over 40 years, the first 10 as part of legendary folk group, the McCalmans. Pernille grew up in a small village near Jutland, where she grew up singing folk tunes. It was on a tour of Denmark that Stephen met Pernille and brought home his future wife and musical partner. The duo sing and play traditional and contemporary folk music with Celtic leanings. Pernille is also a very talented artist, specializing in original hand-printed linocuts. Musically, my guests are in the process of completing a new album. Well, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this and taking part in taking time out to do this.
Yeah.
Well, again, the first few questions are on your backgrounds. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You want to be the guinea pig? Huh?
I'll go first.
Okay. All right. Well. Stephen, take us back to the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Ayrshire, in southwest Scotland, in a town called Ardrossan, about 25 miles from the city of Glasgow. Oh. And I grew up in that town. My father was a singer. He used to sing in his works choir. He worked with Shell. He was a driver for Shell, and they had a choir back in the day when that kind of thing existed with his work. And it was a male voice choir, and he was always singing about the house. And my brother, my elder brother, had a great interest in folk music. When I was about 13, 14, he brought home Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem LP, which I still have. And the day I heard that, I decided that I wanted to become a folk singer.
Okay.
So that's the background. Yes.
That's the background. All right. We'll switch over to you, Pernille. Same question. Where were you born, and talk about your childhood a little bit?
Yeah, I was, first of all, excuse me, I've got a bit of a bad cold, so
okay.
I might do a bit of coughing during this, but I was born in a very small village in Jutland in Denmark, quite not too far from the city of Aarhus. And I grew up in the countryside, and I think my initial kind of interest in folk music came both from my parents and my auntie, who used to give me wee tapes with different folk singers on. And when I was about 13 years old, or just after that, we started going to a very big festival, the Tuna Folk Festival in Denmark. And that really that made me want to sing for the rest of my life,
Okay. Yes. About around the same age. You both said around 13-ish.
Yeah. I think I was probably slightly older. I was maybe about 14, 15. But yeah, that kind of time of year. That kind of time of life when you're kind of influenced, you can be quite heavily influenced by things. Yeah.
Right. We'll talk about Stephen, the first musical instrument that you picked up and learned to play.
I mean, the guitar, really. I mean, it was the guitar. I wanted to play the guitar, so that was my first love, and I pestered my parents to buy me a guitar, and they did, thinking it would just be a little sort of phase I was going through. But probably since that day I got the guitar, there haven't been many days where I haven't picked up a guitar and played it. So, the phase has lasted quite a long time.
It's a lifelong phase.
A lifelong phase. That's right.
Yeah. So right. Were there any other guitarists that you were influenced by?
Guitarists that I was influenced by? No, I mean, I wouldn't really consider myself. I mean, we used the guitars basically for accompanying the songs. You know, I would say that we've got a nice guitar sound, you know, and we're very proficient on the guitars, you know, but we wouldn't call ourselves guitarists. The kind of people that influenced me were people like the Clancy brothers, Tommy Makem, and the Corries, you know. Yes, in Scotland, the Corries, they were very influential to my generation, because they were really at their, we were finding out about Scottish history through song, and it was the Corries who were basically responsible for that education. And I loved the sound of their guitars. I thought their guitars sounded great, you know. So I've got many influences, you know, but these probably would be the main ones. Yes. Yeah.
What about you, Pernille? The guitar, was that your first instrument as well?
Yeah, my first and only. Okay. Yeah. I haven't managed to pick up anything else, but I started playing the guitar when I was, I think I was 13 as well.
It was classical guitar.
It was, yeah. I got it. I got it from my parents as a communion present, and they gave me some lessons then with a classical guitar. So that was how I started off, really. On the Spanish guitar. And
I love the Spanish guitar.
So it wasn't until later on that I actually got something that had steel strings, and kind of went on to that. And as Stephen says, it's more of an accompaniment to the songs, because to me that's the most important.
Because we're too lazy. That's why.
Is that it? Okay. Yes. Well, you're Pernille, I have to say your voice is very beautiful. Did you take any lessons growing up?
I did when I was about 19. I think I went to also classical singing lessons. It was a woman, an opera singer, that while I was living in Dublin, I took some lessons with her, and obviously it kind of taught me the technique, I think, to kind of keep my voice, and then what I did with it then was to sing folk songs. So it was slightly different, obviously, and a completely different genre, but I think it's still been useful.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you guys were going to concerts as teenagers, but can you recall any of if you did, any?
Oh, yes. Oh,
okay.
I mean, we have a folk club very close to us, which has been running for nearly 60 years, and it used to run every Wednesday night. It still runs every second Wednesday evening, but it used to run every Wednesday night. And from the age of 15, 16, I was there every week, and I saw everyone on the folk scene who passed through the folk club in Irvine. Yes, so many concerts and lots of bigger concerts as well. Yeah, that we went to. You know, I've mentioned the Corries. You know, I mean, I think I probably saw the Corries about 50 times.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, that beats my record. I haven't seen anybody that many times.
Yeah.
Well. How about you, Pernille? Was there any kind of music scene in Jutland or around?
There wasn't really much that I kind of knew of, and I don't think there was much of a music scene for folk music. There's a few clubs scattered about Jutland, but it's not that many. It was basically it was the festival, the Tuna Folk Festival in August, that was my kind of yearly injection of folk music, you know. So that was a highlight for me, you know. So
Okay. Well, early on, were either one of you in a band?
I was in a duo with a young friend, you know, who lived in the same town, and we did a few gigs. We won a talent competition in 1977 or 78, something like that, and we stayed together for a couple of years, and we won £200, which was quite a lot of money back then.
Back then,
But the main prize was to be taken onto the books of an agency, and this agency would put us into working men's clubs, social clubs, to do cabaret. Now, I was 18 at the time, and we worked 4 nights a week for a couple of years, working at all these working men's clubs, miners clubs, any kind of club you can mention, you know, doing cabaret, and that was an education.
Okay.
That was a big education. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you kind of it helped hone your chops, as they say, I guess.
Yeah.
Playing live like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, going back to the McCalmans, I don't have any albums per se, but I did buy a various artists compilation, Borderlands, the best of Scottish folk.
Yeah.
And it had several McCalmans tunes on there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, I love the harmonies.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, so beautiful. You know, Jock Stewart. I mean, that's one that's been covered quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I guess the first time I heard it was the version by the Pogues.
Okay.
And they call it "A Man You Don't Meet Every Day," you know, which is a line from the song, but it's actually Jock Stewart. Stewart. Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke. I wasn't in the band when the McCalmans recorded that, but it's a really nice recording of that song, Jock Stewart. Yeah. Real fun.
Well, you may not have been in the band, and the other few songs here, I'll find out. We'll find out. "Farewell to Nova Scotia" was another one I really liked.
No, I was not. These are
earlier.
These are kind of like the original McCalmans, you know, the first lineup of the band. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the first lineup of the band lasted from 1964 to 1982, and that's probably the lineup that most people of a certain generation remember. Yeah.
Okay.
From that band. And then there was a change of lineup in 1982 when Nick joined the band. Hamish, the man who sings Jock Stewart, he left the band.
Okay.
And then another chap joined, Nick Keir. And then I joined in 2000, something like that.
Okay.
When Derek Moffat, he died. He took ill and he died very young. And that's when I joined the band. Yeah.
Okay. Much later. Okay. Well, have you redone any of these tracks that I'm mentioning? Have you re-recorded?
Pernille and I think we probably did in the band. I think we probably did record 1 or 2 of them, but I just can't remember offhand which ones they would be. You know.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
One that kind of comes to mind is "The Broom of the Cowdy Knows."
Oh yes. And that's one I'm going to bring up in a little bit. The other one, I think the track that I like the most of the McCalmans, the early material, is "Fare You Well, Ye Mormon Braes."
Okay,
That wonderful harmonizing in that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean they were. I mean, for a time, you know, in Scotland, you know, the McCalmans were quite a big group. You know, they were a big group. You know, recognizable group. But they didn't really like that kind of. They didn't really see that as being sustainable.
Okay.
So they wanted to sort of keep doing folk clubs, and they wanted to keep playing in Europe, and you know, they could probably have, over maybe a 5 or 10 year period in Scotland, they could probably have made a lot of money, the McCalmans, you know, because they were quite a recognisable group and quite a big name, you know. But they decided not to do that. They wanted to sustain it, you know, and keep playing in the places that were good to them when they started singing, you know. Yeah.
Right.
The true, it's the true folk sort of scene, really, that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Keeping that integrity. You're right. Yeah. Yes. Well, one more track, and then we'll move on. A man's a man for a that. I'm sure you guys have heard, you know, listened to these. I've heard these songs before too, and a lot of them are traditional. Well, I'd like to mention tracks I enjoyed off of your 3 albums together, and get your backstory or the story on the songs, if you would, and if they're more traditional tracks or more contemporary. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. From 2015's River of Time, Troubled Waters. Nice track.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lovely song.
It is,
yeah.
It's a Matt McGinn song.
I like his material. Yes.
Yeah. It's a Matt McGinn song, and it was really Pernille that kind of. I mean, I had actually never heard the song until I heard you sort of singing it, and I would never have guessed that Matt McGinn had written that song. You know,
that's right.
Because Matt McGinn, he was a Glasgow songwriter, and he was known for humorous songs, really.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Right.
And I would never have guessed that he
humorous or protest songs as well.
Protest
you know,
songs,
some as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was an unusual one for him, I think. But I really, when I heard it, I liked the tune and just the sentiment of it. You know. So.
Right. Some of these artists, like you said, you dig a little deeper and you find another side, you know, to their music.
That's exactly true, and it's really like that with Matt McGinn, you know, because he's known for half a dozen songs, you know, but there's so much more to him than that, you know, and you know, but he died very young. He died in 1978, you know. I think he was about 47 years old, so you know, but he left a legacy of great songs.
Right, I was going to say that he did leave a legacy behind. A second track, Curry Doon.
Yeah.
that again, that's another Matt McGinn song.
Oh, okay. Well, this should be retitled the Matt McGinn album.
You know, that's another Matt McGinn song. Yeah. Beautiful song, just about the miners of trying to sort of comfort their children, you know, and you know, sort of saying that everything's going to be okay, you know. So, you know, a real kind of sensitive song, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Well, glad that you guys kind of unearthed these, because we're seeing a different side of McGinn, you know, with these, you know, getting a little bit of exposure for some of his other.
I mean, having said that, I mean, Curry Doon has been well recorded. It's a well recorded song.
Then Burghead Sands.
Burghead Sands,
another nice track.
Burghead Sands, that's written by a man called Gordon Mingus. And Gordon Mingus, he was in a folk duo called Gabber Lindsay. They were a kind of nationalist, Scottish nationalist folk duo who operated from the 1970s to 2015, something like that. Yeah. And they were very popular in Scotland, especially amongst Scottish National Party supporters.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wrote that, and he's written a lot of nice songs, you know.
That's right.
Okay. And what is the meaning? Is that a location?
Burghead, Burghead it's up in the Moray Firth. It's a small village in the Moray Firth and it has a harbour where the men used to sail into the North Sea to fish. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a long tradition too there of sailing,
Yeah,
fishing
yeah.
songs, you know, and folk music. You know,
Yeah.
quite a lot going way back. Then Jamie Rayburn.
Jamie Rayburn. That's a song. That's a song of. That's a song of. It's a song from Glasgow, and it's a song of. It's a convict song. You know, it's about the convicts, and this in particular, Jamie Rayburn being sent to Van Diemen's Land, and he's going to be missing all of his family and his girlfriend and all of that. You know, there are many convict songs in Scotland and Ireland because there was a lot of people sent to Van Diemen's Land, so a lot of songs came from that, you know, and that's probably one of the best known ones in Scotland. Jamie Rayburn, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, a lot of tragic songs in folk music too. You know.
Yeah, yeah, but we're really quite happy people, aren't we? Yeah. We're happy people. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then Up the Northern Water. I like that one.
Up the Northern Water, yeah. That was a woman called was it Violet Jacob? Yeah, Violet Jacob. Violet Jacob. She was a poet from Angus, from the area of Angus in Scotland, near Dundee, and there was a very well-known folk singer, a man called Jim Reid. He took some of these poems and he put a tune to them, and that's one of the songs that came out of that. Yeah, Up the Northern Water, and the Northern Water is a small river in Angus in Scotland. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, is that where we get the cattle, the Angus cattle from?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aberdeen Angus. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought so. All right,
Yeah.
all right. And then the title track, "River of Time."
Yeah, that's a song I wrote really remembering Nick here, as Stephen mentioned. He was in the McCalmans in the second formation of the group, and he was a very good friend, and he passed away from cancer at the age of 60. So this was kind of written in memory of him, and just that was really I thought he had written so many songs for other people. He was a brilliant songwriter, a very poetic songwriter. So I thought I would write something for him for once, you know. So
right, to give back, right? Yeah, I like that imagery too. River, time. I like that, you know. And that, yes, that's really. And then the final track, "Lullaby." Yeah. A nice one you could sing to your children. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Back when they were small.
Right.
You couldn't sing it to them.
I don't think they would listen now.
They wouldn't listen these days.
No, that's right. But as you say, it's a lullaby, and it's just a very simple song that I wrote for our children, basically. You know, just kind of thinking of the way that you're away and they grow up, but you're always going to be there for them no matter what, you know. Right.
Well, speaking of, how many children do you have? How old are they?
There's 3 children. There's Claire, who is 29. There's Morgan, who is 22 almost.
On Thursday?
On Thursday, yes.
On Thursday, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And there's Anna, who will be 19 in November.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, I'd like to wish him an early happy birthday then.
Well, that's great. We'll tell him,
yeah. I just have one son. He's 18, and we just got him off to college.
Yeah.
This year, freshman. help movie man and everything. So he's doing good so far.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
The a little bit of the empty nest syndrome.
Yeah.
Right.
Exciting times for him. So
right. He's getting along well. He's adjusting. Well, moving along to Wings of Gold from 2020, the title track. Talk a little bit about that one.
Well, that was, we usually would say when we introduce the song, whenever we've sung it, that it's a song inspired by the Saltcoats seagulls. We live, the Saltcoats is right on the west coast of Scotland here, and we've got quite a lot of seagulls, and they can be annoying birds, obviously, if you're sitting down the seafront and you're trying to keep your ice cream to yourself, and not always. But on a nice night when the sun is setting, and we've got a really beautiful coastline here. We've got the Isle of Arran just across from the water there, and when the sun sets, it's quite a sight. So I just really was inspired by the nature around here to write that song.
Yes. I remember many years ago when I went to the coast here in Texas, we were sitting out at a restaurant on a deck and all the seagulls coming around. I found out they really like French fries.
Yeah.
we throw it up in the air and they.
That's right. That's right. In Scotland, we call them chips.
Chips, right. Fish and chips.
Chips.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, second track, Caradale, I really enjoyed.
Caradale, that was written by a man called Alan Reid, who was in the Battlefield Band. I don't know if you.
Yes.
I mean,
I am familiar with
spent so much time in America, the Battlefield Band, and he wrote that, and we heard him singing it at the folk club about a few years ago. And you know, when you hear a song and you instantly like it, you think, I must learn that song. You know, that was one of those songs. You know, for me anyway. You know, because it really just sort of is it's a great Scottish song. You know, and it's a new song. Right. And we haven't, apart from Alan Reid, we haven't heard anyone else other than ourselves who sing it. So that's a good song. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you guys like it as well.
Caradale.
Go ahead.
Caradale's a little village on the Mull of Kintyre on the west coast, and the song is really just about the journey from Glasgow to Caradale to that little village. Yeah. Okay. And you go through some of the most spectacular scenery in Scotland on the road, you know.
That reminds me of the Paul McCartney song. That's right. I still think that's one of his better songs.
That's a great song. It's a great song. Great arrangement with the pipe band. Yeah, super.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, and then She's So Loved It All.
Yeah, that was again a song I wrote inspired by. It was actually something, I think it was on Facebook. I saw it. You know how you sit and scroll through a lot of things, and this little picture came up of a young man and his wife, and it turned out there was a whole load of these pictures that were photos that he had taken, black and white photos during his wife's illness. She had cancer as well, and he kind of documented the whole journey, and I just was so inspired by what these pictures were saying that I felt as if I needed to put words to it. So that was how that song came about.
Yeah. Oh, see, I like to hear the backstories like that. I like the origins like that. Yeah. That is something that is what a sentiment there. Wow. Well, the shearings, no for you.
Shearings, no for you. Yeah. That's a local song for us. It's an Ayrshire song. I mean, the tune's a very well used tune. It's been used for many different songs. You know, And it's really, I mean, you know more about the song than I do. You know, it's kind of.
Well, I mean, I think I heard it sung by originally the tune by the McCalmans, but with different words,
Yeah.
and then I listened to a few different versions of it, and I just like these traditional words. I think you said they originally had some connection to Burns, to Robert Burns.
Yeah, to Robert Burns, yeah.
Or they think they do anyway.
Yeah,
it's a bit, yeah, I have to tell.
It's a bit fragmented, you know. I mean, there's lots of things there's lots of songs that we could sort of say that Robert Burns had a little bit to do with, you know, but it's hard to know how much. Yeah,
right. Don't you know it all started with Robert Burns?
Well, that's
that's funny. You could do one of those the 7 steps from Robert Burns, or like you could get like name somebody and then find a connection somehow.
People have done that, you know. People have done that, you know. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. I mean, Burns is such an important figure. In the Scottish folklore and tradition. You know, it's an amazing amount of poetry and songs.
Yeah.
A lot of people will hear a song that they've known for all their life, but they don't know that Robbie Burns wrote that song. Yeah.
Right. Very true. Very true. Silver and Gold.
Silver and Gold. Aye, that's a
great song.
Yeah. It is. It's one of the songs we like singing the most, really, you know, and it's one of the songs I like singing, you know, because it's a real great story, you know. I mean, it is. I mean, it's. I mean, the mining industry in Britain was really kind of decimated in the 1980s, and there were lots of men like the man in that song, you know, who were left sort of feeling as if they had no hope, feeling useless, and that's just a great song about a man who decided that he could still contribute to his life and to his family life, and he could sort of he could make sure that he was doing some good things. Yeah. Right. Because a lot of men like that during that time, they lost all hope, really, you know. So it's a song of I think it's a real positive song, that. Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, so many great folk tunes, you know, really pull at the heartstrings too.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they are, even though they're maybe, you know, tragic, but there's always some kind of, usually an uplifting side to it. And it's about all of us. That's why I guess it's called folk.
That's right. Of course it is. I mean, you can sort of, I mean, it's like folk music to me is like singing a folk song. To me is like singing no other type of song, you know, from no other genre, you know. I just don't feel that a country singer gets that same feeling from singing a country song as a folk singer gets from singing a folk song, you know.
Right.
I might be wrong, you know. I might be wrong there, you know. But I just feel if everything's good at a gig that you're doing and the audience are right and you're singing good, and, you know, there's no other feeling like that, you know. You know, if you're singing a song and you feel as if it's getting through to the audience, that's great.
Right.
That's why we do it.
Making that connection. You're right.
That's why we do it. Yeah.
And
we don't do it for money.
It's the commonality too, like you said. I'm sure, Pernille, that you've found that out early on, that the music is how similar it is. If you go back to the roots, you know, from all over the world, you know, how really similar, and the themes and everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you look at the traditional songs, and I didn't really know that much about the traditional music in Denmark because it was never really, it didn't have, it's become more popular now, but when I was growing up, it was they kind of in a minority that people that knew anything about it or played it or sang it. But when I see some of the lyrics to some of the traditional songs, they're obviously just like the ballads that you get here, you know. So the same kind of fundamentally human themes, you know.
That's right. It's what we all share, exactly. And then Brant, you know, bridging that gap from history to now, you know. Yeah. And I forgot to mention any of these that you like performing live. Be sure and, you know, bring that up too. And here's one that you brought up earlier: the broom of the Cowden Nose.
Broom of the Cowden Nose. Yeah. Right. Well, the broom of the Cowden Nose. I mean, that was really brought to the attention of the folk scene by Archie Fisher. Now, Archie Fisher is a legend in Scotland, you know, and he's done so much work in America as well, you know. And he was probably the first person to introduce the broom of the Cowden Nose to the folk scene. Him and his sisters.
Right, I was going to say,
you know, his sisters Ray and Scylla. The Fisher family. I mean, they were
the whole clan. Yeah,
they were totally right in there at the beginning. You know, right when the folk revival was starting. You know, they were there. You know, and Archie's still there. You know, and he's still singing "Broom of the Cowden Nose." Yeah.
I would love to hear a newer rendition of, you know, him singing that. I would like to.
Yeah. we love Archie Fisher Race. I just think he's just absolutely superb. Yeah.
And then finally, Journey's End.
Journey's End. Right. Yeah. That was written by an American.
Oh, okay. Kudos. Okay. We got an American in there.
JB, good enough. Yeah, good enough. Yeah. I think it was a woman who wrote it. You know. I think her name was Mary, but she came under the pseudonym of JB. And that was Tommy Makem and Liam Clancy who introduced that song to the wider public. And many people have recorded it. Yeah. That's and right. we just love the song. Yeah. We think it's a great song to sing at the end of a gig.
To finish off the night.
You know, it's a real sort of quiet song, you know, and really nice. It just says everything, you know, just at the end of an evening, you know. Right. So we use it for that.
Yeah.
Right. That's very apropos, like you said, coming to the end of the show.
Yeah, well, John's End, yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, jumping ahead to your latest, Threads from 2022.
Yeah.
I think I like this album overall the best.
Yeah.
Of the three.
Yeah.
The title track, Threads.
Yeah. That was a song I wrote really for my grandmother, on my maternal grandmother. She was a great influence as I was growing up, and I found a little piece of embroidery that she had started, and after I had found it and I had finished it, and then I thought, I'm going to write a song about this, because I thought it was a nice kind of image of how you pass things on from one generation to another, and that was really what the song is about. You know, how we can influence the people that come after us and hopefully leave a mark with them.
Right. and through music too.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Passing that on, and the threads of Celtic going through your music, and and yes.
Yeah.
Well done. Well thought out too. So you have a mind.
We enjoy singing that song as well. It's a real nice song to sing. Yeah.
It has a lot of connection to a lot of people. A lot of people find that they have similar connections in their own families, you know, so that way it works really well.
Right. I like to bring up, doing these interviews, the threads that I find, the common threads, you know, and connections. The more that I do, the more I find, you know.
Yeah.
It just happens. It's mathematics, right? A second track from Greenland, I really enjoyed.
Yeah. From Greenland, yeah, that was written by Ian McCalman from.
Okay.
And right. I mean, Ian was never early on in the McCalmans' career. I mean, they really did sort of rely on traditional Scottish songs. But as time went by, Ian started to write songs, and he became quite prolific towards the end as a songwriter. Yeah. And that From Greenland is a song that he wrote, I would say, in the early 2000s. And it's a song about coming back to Scotland. And he uses the goose as the kind of, you know, as the goose always comes back, you know, and we always come back, you know. And basically that's what the song title means. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the goose doesn't bring the golden egg most of the time.
No, that's right.
But anyway,
neither
another story.
Neither the singing folk songs.
Right, that's another story. Steal Away. Right. You know, when I first saw the name, I thought, is that the cover of that old R&B, you know, track? And I said, no, it's not. Once I listened, you know, it's not.
No. Steal Away, it's a pretty well-known song. It was written by Phil Coulter.
Okay.
Now, Phil Coulter has written many famous Irish songs, notably The Town I Loved So Well.
Oh, right.
A really famous Irish song. And the Steal Away song it's a kind of sentimental song. We use it as that. We use it because it's got a great chorus in it, and we enjoy singing the song. We think we think a lot of people can relate to it. You know, that you get a bit older in life and you're just looking for a bit of peace and quiet. You know, basically that's what the song says. Yeah.
Right. Well, we have a little bit more peace and quiet now that my son's in school. So I don't know if it's the best kind, but
we've got quiet as well. We don't know what to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a really nice song. Really nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Yeah.
And then the Two Sisters.
Yeah, that's it's a song written this time about my aunties. Really, most of the songs are inspired by people that I've met or that I know, you know, and in this case, it was one of my aunties who were ill during COVID. And she was then put into a hospice where my other auntie, who used to go and see her a lot, she wasn't allowed in during this time. And it was, of course, very difficult for both of them. And my auntie, who couldn't go in and visit, had said to my auntie, who was in the hospice, that they could meet in their minds, basically, just to think of this place that was special to them, where they used to go walking in the woods together. And that was kind of a way that they managed through that time. It gave some solace to both of them, really, in very difficult circumstances, you know. And I thought it was a nice sentiment to put in a song as well.
Right. I think some of the better songs are the real personal ones like that, like you said, that, you know, from your own experience. You know, they come across.
It's usually the easiest to write.
Right. Very nice. Well, again, it's nice to hear the background and the origins too. You know, kind of connect those two. And then Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears.
Okay, Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears. I mean, that was a song that I wanted us to sing. I mean, I think Pernille sang that under protest. You know?
No, I think it's a lovely song.
It's a great song. I mean, it's a song about it's got an American connection.
Yeah,
It's about the first Irish person to come to America and to come to Ellis Island.
Ellis Island, yeah.
And it's really a song about this young, what was her name? Mary.
Oh, I've forgotten now.
It's a song about a 15-year-old
very young
girl who was leaving Ireland on her own and coming to America. And it's just a song really about that.
Yeah.
About the first.
About how she felt when she had to leave everything behind and step into a completely new world. And we sing it now, and you can still relate it to something that's happening these days, because there's plenty of people that have to leave their homes and seek new places. And
New asylum, that recalls the Mary Black Ellis Island. You're familiar with that song. I love that song. That's what I thought of immediately when I started hearing this one. And
song,
yes. And then the missing piece.
Yeah, the missing piece. It's a song. It's a song that we haven't actually sung live yet. But
you should. Yeah.
It's just the way. Sometimes it's just luck which ones you choose to kind of focus on. But it was a song I wrote after, because I've worked a lot in schools, and this was a kind of special unit I was working in with a lot of very young kids that had different diagnoses, and a lot of them were autistic. And I wrote this after working very closely with a lot of these kids, and I saw they gave me a lot. It was very hard work, but they gave me a lot and gave me a lot of insight into what it means to be autistic, and how the world outside sometimes view you as if you aren't quite there. But my point in the song is that it's really us that needs to kind of see that we need to be able to see things differently, because it's maybe us who are at fault,
And you learn just as much from them as they do from you,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think it was a very kind of eye-opening thing to work with these kids, because they were so different in so many ways. There was a lot of people think, well, it's just one type of diagnosis that you get when you're autistic, but there's so many different. It's a whole spectrum of.
It's not black and white, no.
No, certainly not. No.
Doing these, I found several that have gone into teaching after music, or simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
So there is that correlation there too, I mean, with music, you're teaching, you're sharing, and then I can see how a musician can move into teaching,
Yeah. That's right. There is a similarity there.
Yeah. Well, The Earl of March's Daughter, another nice track.
Yeah, it's a lovely track. Yeah. I mean, it sounds very much like a traditional song, but it was written by a man called Lionel McCalmans, who came from the southwest of Scotland near Dumfries, and he wrote the song, and it's been covered by a few artists, but I think he really nailed it. If you were trying to write a song that sounded traditional, then you would be delighted if you came up with something like The Earl of March's Daughter.
Right.
I mean, it's the old story, of the young woman falling in love with the farmhand, and the father saying, no, that's not possible, but Lionel, in many of the songs, there are happy endings, But Lionel decided to have a tragic ending. He decided that the woman was going to die, and that was it. She died of a broken heart. Right. So that's what happens.
Can't get more traditional than that.
No, that's the common theme.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think to make a song sound, old and traditional, if you put in, some titles like you said, Earl or Lord.
Yeah.
That.
Well, the Earl of March. I mean, the Earl of March. There was no. That's not. It wasn't because of the place name and anything like that. The Earl of March was the people, the Earl who owned the land on the border. They were known as the Marches, and whoever owned that part of the land was the Earl.
And then one final track, Scotland Will Rise. Yeah.
Scotland Will Rise. Yeah. Do you like that song? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of a very optimistic song about Scotland, maybe sort of someday finding the courage to become independent. And it kind of uses the analogy of the old clansmen who were fierce, brave fighters. And if only we could be a bit more like that in Scotland these days, not fighting, but to have courage and to be able to sort of say to ourselves that we can become independent. That's really what the song says.
Yeah.
And written by Robin Watson, who was the other member of Gabber Lindsay, the duo that I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. So he died about 5 years ago.
Oh, did he?
No less than that. 4 years ago, and that was just done as a little tribute to Robin. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I do think that's my favorite album. The Threads. Yeah. All in all, yeah, I like that.
That's great. Well, we like it as well. I mean, I think it's a progression of like we've been together for 20 years, Pernille and I, and we started singing maybe about 10 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's really you hope that everything progresses, and and things sort of become not better, but there's a kind of you see a moving forward,
right,
in the music, so that's good. Yeah, great.
Yes. Well, you mentioned a few times about playing live. I take it that you enjoy playing live.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah. I mean that's the reason we do it, really. Is to sort of get out there and do what we do, and hopefully people enjoy it. And I mean, we realise that we're in a very small scene, the folk scene, especially the kind of folk scene that we're involved in. There are two folk scenes in Scotland and Ireland at the moment. There's a very young scene with bands, a lot of bands, and there's our kind of scene, the folk club scene, the small venue scene, that kind of thing, and that's what we do. That's what we do, and it's becoming much more difficult to find gigs on that scene. Yeah,
it's a niche market.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, much more than it used to be. Yeah.
But you're finding a pretty big following. I mean, a lot of people are wanting to hear that kind of music. A lot of fans. Yeah.
We find that
we have a very loyal following. I would say. Very much,
yes.
Perform, no matter whether it's here in Scotland or abroad in Germany or Denmark or the Netherlands. We've got people that come again and again to see that, and a lot of them that we become quite friendly with. People that we keep in touch with, and that's part of the folk scene that really I think is different from most other musics.
That's right. I mean, you go to a place, and you meet people, and you start talking to them, and then you go next year and you meet them again, you know, and then you end up staying in their houses, you know. So I mean, I don't think there's another scene quite like that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, really, you know. It's a small scene, you know, but as Pernille says, it's the people are loyal, you know, very,
right.
very loyal,
very true and loyal, and they'll stay with you, and it's you know, it's the commonality kind of a thing, you know, what we all share. And I think that's very true. You mentioned the Netherlands, playing in Holland. I've heard doing a lot of these interviews about how loyal, again, the fans are there throughout the ages too. Really good people, really good music fans. Yeah.
I mean, but it's the same in Scotland, you know. It's the same in Denmark, you know. I mean, if you build up a following, you know, then they stay with you, you know. They stay with you, you know. And it's a small group, you know, but you can rely on them, you know. You can rely on them. I mean, like during COVID, we did a lot of online stuff during COVID, you know. And the people that we reached during that have stayed with us, you know. You know, and we meet them now at gigs. You know, they come to gigs. You know, and it's been
it's amazing the amount of people who say to us that the last time we saw you was in your kitchen. You know, and you sing and obviously the concert.
So it was a dark time, but I mean, we have met so many people through it as well. You know, so you know, so that's nice.
And of course they'll pass it on to their kids, and you know, through generations too. It'll be passed. You know, but it's like you said, making that a connection. There's nothing like that playing live. That immediate, you know, connection. Well, talk about before the new album. I wanted to hear, Pernille, about your etchings and your artwork. I wanted to hear a little bit about that. When did that start?
Well, that's, as we were just talking about COVID there, it was during that time where there was not much else happening, and I just thought that I had always wanted to take up the line of printing, and I really got into it and spent a lot of time, because obviously there's a lot of different skills to it. You know, the actual drawing, I've always liked drawing, but doing the designs, and then the skills of cutting with a very sharp knife, which is not always a good idea when you have to be able to play the guitar as well, because initially I had quite a number of cuts, you know, but it got better. So, and I usually I still like doing I maybe haven't spent as much time doing the lino printing since then, but I still enjoy doing it, and I take them. We usually take them with us to our gigs, and along with the CDs. And
yes.
There's sometimes we sell more lino prints than we do CDs.
Than albums. Okay. What's up with that? No. Well, you know, are there thoughts of using one of yours as an album cover?
Probably not as an album cover, but because we usually go for the kind of the image of the two of us in one way or another, because it's an old-fashioned thing, but Stephen thinks it sells more CDs.
Maybe you could do one of the two of you, you know. But I like that. I like that art. It's especially because it goes back to an ancient time too. You know, when you look at the images, you know, you think of, you know, the old, I don't know exactly what period of time, but the folk images from eons ago. You know, it has some of that, because it's an art form that's been around for a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and there's some great. I mean, I know on the rock scene there's some great album covers. You know, some real class on the folk scene as well. You know, there's some great sort of really original album covers that are classic. You know.
Yes. So I think that would be, and if you do happen to use it, I want my percentage cut. If you, yeah, right, right. Well, how because it was my no. Right. Well, do talk about the progress on the new album. How's it coming?
Good.
Yeah,
almost finished. Yeah, it's almost finished. Sort of.
Really...
We're going back. We're recording it through in Ian McCalmans' studio in Edinburgh, near Edinburgh, and we're going back through on Thursday for another session of seeing what we can add and if anything needs corrected. Then after that, probably will be mastered. Hopefully in October.
Yeah.
So should be. I mean, we're in no great rush to get the album out as a CD because CD sales are really, but we need to get them. We want to get the songs out, So we'll probably have it up in Bandcamp, first of all, and then a physical CD will come out. Yeah.
Okay, so that's just right around the corner. Next month.
It's quite good, But we were through last week, and I mean we hadn't worked on it for about 2-3 months.
Yeah,
and so you're always a wee bit frightened when you go back to listen to stuff. But we were pleasantly surprised. So we think it'll be a good one and good songs. We like the songs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, if it's anything as good as your last album, it will certainly be welcome.
So. Well, that's good. Good.
All right. Well, you guys, anything in closing that you'd like to bring up or mention or talk about?
Well, I think it's been very nice just talking to you, Greg, and that's great. We didn't know what to expect with you, but you'll be very welcome to come to Scotland anytime. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And, and we're going to close now, and Pernille is going for a run because she's training to run the Loch Ness Marathon in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah. I've only got 3 weeks to go. So
she's going running now.
Okay. Wow. So you're in. Okay. Well, good for you. I mean, staying healthy like that. Yeah.
She did it last year.
Well,
and then I'm going to buy cheese. So.
Okay. That's always a good thing. Good purchase. Right, cheese. Well, does it start or end at Loch Ness, or how does that work?
It ends basically on the shores of Loch Ness. You start up in the mountains, and then you work your way down along the side of Loch Ness. So you're running along the side of the lake.
Okay.
It's a very scenic and beautiful run.
Oh yes, I can imagine.
And when we go to Germany and when we go to Denmark, we tell people. I say to people that Pernille ran the Loch Ness Marathon, and there was 2,000 runners at the start, but only 1,800 finished it. Because 200 of them were eaten by the monster. Okay. Now, in Germany and Denmark, they think that's very funny.
Yeah.
But in Scotland, they think it's...
It's not humorous. Yeah. Well, when you said, because it starts with the same letter M, Loch Ness, and then I was expecting monster. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, well, don't get too close to the edge when you're running. You might slip in. You might fall. Yeah, don't do that. All right. Well, thank you guys again, and best of luck on the new release and everything in the future.
Yeah.
So
lovely to talk to you. Yeah, sorry for the technological hitch.
That's all right. It's all right. They happen. I'm used to that. So.
It was because we forgot to switch the charger on for the iPad.
Oh, so okay. Is that right? I forgot to have mine on. I learned my lesson to have my charger on, and it got right towards the end of the interview, and it ended, and it cut off, and it's like, oh my god! But at least it was salvageable. But yeah, I learned that. Keep it charged.
Well, lovely to talk to you.
Okay.
Greetings from Scotland.
Yes.
And,
greetings from Texas. All right.
Yes. Thank you very much. Lovely.
All right.
Right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Well, all the best to you guys. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks very lovely to talk to you. Cheers.